Ronnie-Ward from the Ditmas Park section of the Flatbush neighborhood, Borough, Brooklyn, County of Kings, City of New York, State of New York, United States. Well, this is a video that I made last Friday at 2 a.m. and 16 minutes. Regular order is the order? Yes. Well, the focus of this video is an interview of the gentleman who was the chairman of the board of Goldman Sachs. He was interviewed on PBS, Public Broadcasting, live from the studios in Washington, D.C. And so it's Goldman Sachs, which takes us to 2008. 14 years ago, when the world was plunged into a worldwide financial crisis. And that's what I speak about here. But the important thing of this is about the idea of, in my videos, I use the term regime related to the current situation in Iran. And so I want to be clear about this, what I mean when I will say regime. I also want to be clear about the following, that the Donald Trump, President Trump's statement, unconditional surrender, I want to explain something. From my understanding, an unconditional surrender has to do with land, a territory that has a boundary. That is a country. War is not against people on the land. No, it's about unconditional surrender. It's about the territory, the land, and its boundary. That must surrender. Well, land can't surrender. There has to be a person or people that can sit down at a table to have those conversations. And I don't know at all how long that takes. It's not up to me, though, or Donald Trump or anybody else that's out of country. We know who is going to be involved in getting to that point. Well, it's going to be the president. It's going to be foreign minister. It's going to be the son of the Ayatollah, who's the new leader of the clerics and stuff, and others, public society, and Crown Prince Pahlavi. That has to be a matter of the people of Iran to have this conversation. It has to be. Otherwise, it just gets characterized as regime change then, or not in the interest of the people. And it's so important after 47 years. We can't just think that this is just, we cannot stumble over all the sacrifice and oppression and make it meaningless. So that's just, when I use the word regime, I mean the Parliament, the House of Lords, and the House of Commons of United Kingdom, acting through the elected Prime Minister, who's Keir Starmer, who then leads that body and then has the government that he administrates. And he does that by royal assent from the crown, King Charles III. So the regime related to there is not the crown or the king, it's Keir Starmer. The other part of the regime is Emmanuel Macron, president of France, on behalf of France, who might as well be Napoleon Bonaparte, Imperial Caesar of Europe. Because that's how Emmanuel Macron sees himself. That's how he acts. That's how he talks. The other one is Spain, Prime Minister Sanchez. And the fourth one is Germany. And it just so happens that Chancellor Merz is new, but he is the leader. So it's Germany. And what about those four places that is the same? The same is their first through 12th grade elite education program that they export out of the country. In France, it's BFI. In Germany, it's DIA. In Spain, it's as another name. And in the United Kingdom, it's out of Oxford. Well, in the United States, all four of those places have those programs in the United States. And it undermines and drags down our public education program. And this has been going on for decades in the United States. And France is all embedded in Africa. And they've been doing that there as well. Oh, and in Iran, all United Kingdom and France and Germany have programs, the same program, all in Iran. Tens of thousands of students and teachers with private security services all across the country. I have the specifics, and they have it even more so in the United States. So that's what I am talking about. And now is the time to do this for me, because it's about 9:15 a.m. in New York, and it's 3:15 in the afternoon in Europe. So I'm getting this video up so that I can do what I need to do related to that. And so let's real quick go back to the 2008 world financial crisis that is all about primarily the United States, but the New York Stock Exchange, which is the financial stock exchange of every other place in the world, because they were all in on it together. And I explained that here, how this works. And then we'll do the education piece. It was posted March 6th. Bush neighborhood, the borough, Brooklyn, County of Kings, City of New York, State of New York, United States. Yeah, it's 1:29 a.m. on Friday, the 6th day of March, 2026. Well, I made a video, and it got cut up into, segmented into several videos, so I'm going to put them all into one now. That's it. I just made these. Section of the Flatbush. Ronnie-Ward from the Ditmas Park section of the Flatbush neighborhood, the borough of Brooklyn City, County of Kings, City of New York, State of New York, United States. Yeah, it is 45, it's midnight, 45 minutes into Friday, the 6th day of March, 2026. Well, I had been making a video. I had been. And it turned off in the middle of recording it. And so I am uploading it already. PBS reporter reports motivation not based. I'm linking it back to this video. Treasonous dirty dogs. Because I had to continue recording. It's 2 hours and so many minutes long. Yeah, so I'm going to get back to what I was watching. PBS. Yeah, PBS. Yeah, PBS. Yeah, PBS. Well, here it is. Jules were buying houses they couldn't afford. picked up right where I left off.
It was a relaxation of discipline. It felt like to people that trees were growing to the skies. Certainly as between
Former chairman, Goldman Sachs.
Financial institutions themselves, the government should want to help out the individuals and the people, and
the government should want to help out individuals in the United States because Obama, when he was president, securitized the risk out of the stock market. He did. That's what the bailout was. It wasn't a bailout. It was securitization of risk in the trading of equity instruments called stocks. You cannot trade in a equitable manner based on fairness if there's no risk to the loss of your capital, the money that you had that you purchased shares with. Because if you cannot lose your asset, your cash, because the risk has been securitized, then you can't have equitable trading. Because you can't lose your asset, your money. Now, if the risk has been securitized, this gentleman is the former chairman of the board at Goldman Sachs, who's now an author. He's talking about his book.
Fend for themselves. But big institutions, we were into a recession and a banking crisis. The government never wanted to bail out.
14 years later.
No, they securitized the risk. Is that the banks themselves, when they get money, they have to husband it. They have to restore their reserves.
Husband the money.
The banking system in better shape, you weren't going to be able to do anything for the real economy. And
so they the real economy.
And
as opposed to the fake economy.
That was to disproportionately help what people would have regarded as less deserving financial institutions at the expense of
less deserving financial. It ain't greed.
America.
Who lost it?
Today.
Homes and everything.
Yeah, people are very much still grappling with, right? In terms of taking out of financial cells. We just talked about
an attack
wind that we have in the
on the
that has been
wealth
very good for people with assets,
everyday America
going up in value, assets including stock.
Yeah, this was an attack that President Obama knowingly perpetrated against the people of the United States and the rest of the world, because it plunged the whole world into a massive financial crisis just 14 years ago. It's 14 years later, and now this gentleman has a tell-all book and is interviewed. I just happened to see it. Yeah. The mortgage-backed securities crises in America, we've had at least 6 or 8 of those repeated every so many years. And they just kept doing it again and again and again and again and again, over and over and over. So if you want to know why home ownership rates and why Americans and others from other parts of the world that moved and lived in America don't seem to get ahead or don't have assets or low wages, it's because our only asset, a home, has been slammed financially every 10 years or so since World War II, to the benefit of every person who invests in the stock market and who has 401ks, who's invested in the stock market. That's all been put on the backs of anyone who has family, no matter where you are from the world, in the United States. It's cost the world money in equity, in property in the United States. It is worth trillions and trillions of dollars. Okay? Well, I've got them now. Today, last Friday, I've got them now. I do. They will have to give an account for this. Yeah, this is it's not a financial crisis. No, it's not. It's money, folks. They fix money all the time. It's an accounting issue. That's all it is. So don't get concerned about the financial markets. No, don't. This is important.
One form of assets, but all assets have been going up in value. Of course, they securitized out the risk. Doesn't have assets. You haven't been participating. We lost our home. That's our asset. We lost it. You're not participating, he says. And again, here's the polarization, so you can ask two. It was done to purposely polarize America, United States, by stealing the only asset that people have, a home. Bifurcated economy at this point. That you don't have, because you're a mortgage. We may not live through that crisis. We may not have.
Yeah, the point I make is, if you have a mortgage on a piece of property, folks, in the United States, you don't own the land and you don't own the home. You don't have a deed to it. You have a mortgage deed. You just have a piece of paper that says, once you pay it off, then it's yours. Otherwise, you're renting. You're just paying a payment every month like a renter does. Don't get caught up in the fantasy land thinking you have a home that you own. You don't own the land nor the house. No, because you have a mortgage deed, which means you don't own it. The bank owns the land and the house, the whole thing, that they own it. If you don't pay it, they take it all because they already have it. That's why it's called repossession. Yeah. So just don't get caught up in the fantasy land of what it means to own something. Please don't do that. Because even the biggest skyscrapers or the biggest homes, they don't own it either. No, they all pay mortgages on it. So that's how it works.
Is the sixth or eighth mortgage-backed security crisis? Well, I don't know. There's other thing. You never know the
Lloyd
You
Blankenfeld.
never know what would have been the other. I would say it's not a contributor to the over. It's not indeterminate. No looking back. No, it's obvious what they've been doing. Controlling your.
So now I'm going to make a very important point philosophically and in reality of what it means for big banking institutions around the world, and everybody can relate to this. When you lose everything you have, a home or whatever, it's devastating. Some people never recover. They end up homeless or disjointed, displaced, in disparity, and they end up dead or death of a broken heart or can't get it together or, health, everything goes downhill immediately. It puts you on a fast downward slope to death when it's not necessary, even of a broken heart. Yeah, it's about death, okay? Death is a noun and verb. Death. I'm sick to death. Yeah, it's one word. It's a noun and a verb. And I'm going to talk about that. This is insidious. And they know what they're doing. The big bank, Mr. Blanket, he knows what he's doing. I do too.
Life. Yeah. It's real simple. Our home. That's our asset. We lost it. You're not participating, he says. And again, here's the polarization, so you can ask two. It was done to purposely polarize America, United States, by stealing the only asset that people have, a home. Bifurcated economy at this point. That you don't have, because you're a mortgage. We may not live through that crisis. We may not have had. Is the sixth or eighth mortgage-backed security crisis? Well, I don't know. There's other thing. You never know. You take one path, you never know what would have been the other. I would say it's.
Oh, you take one path or another path. You, meaning me, a little person. I pick one path, another path. Yeah, I have to pick a path to go somewhere. I don't have a path. I don't have a sidewalk. I don't have a house. Yeah, I don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out anymore. So I have no options. The arrogance of this type. There's too many of them. There are. Well, he's done. He is done. This man is done. Yes, he is. Because he's talking about it on PBS. He'll be done. He'll be all right. I'm not saying that this is a crime investigation. No, this is an investigation. No, this is public relations, reputation. He broke a big rule in the financial world by going on this program. He should have never done this. So he'll get taken care of. Yeah, he just made a huge problem for every major bank in the world. Not because they've done anything wrong. This is not about a felony. No, this is not a crime, civil. No, it's just money, folks. It can be fixed because it's money. That's all it is. Yeah, this isn't, oh my gosh. No, it's not. But I've got to document it so I can do what I got to do and share the information with others. Yeah, this is, no. Trust me, by the time this gets up and posted, well, they'll know. It's already been up. They know already. Of course they do.
Not a contributor to the over. It's not indeterminate. No looking back now. It's obvious what they've been doing. Controlling your life. Yeah. It's real simple. You put sovereign state nation in position 0. And then
Because they are controlling my life. Absolutely. It's my home. It's my life. I do not live to have a life. No. I have a life so that I can live. Yeah. That's right. It's the commodification of people who don't have life. We're just alive to be controlled. No, I have a life so that I can live, but I have to own a home or have a place, a dwelling. Yeah.
function is a vector coming off of that. Securitized out the risk. Doesn't have assets. You haven't been participating. We lost our home. That's our asset. We lost it. You're not participating, he says. And again, here's the polarization. So you can ask two. It was done to purposely polarize America. United States by stealing the only asset that people have, a home. Bifurcated economy at this point. That you don't have, because you're a mortgage.
We may not live through that crisis. We may not have had
It's the 6th or 8th mortgage-backed security crisis. Well, I don't know. There's other thing. You never know the
Lloyd Blankenfeld.
Would have been the other.
Hi, Lloyd. How you doing, buddy?
It's not indeterminate. No looking back now. It's obvious what they've been doing. Controlling your life. Yeah. It's real simple. You put sovereign state nation in position 0. And then the function is a vector coming off of that, pointing to the right. And then you put law of the sheep. And then you put
Law of a street means that when you're death, then whatever's remaining over that can't be passed out by a will or trust, it escheats back to the sovereign state. And for most people, most people everywhere, don't have a will or trust. So if there's a property issue, then it ultimately goes back to the state anyway. The bank repossesses it, and it just goes back to the state. So that's what escheat means. It means that the state picks up all the loose coins that are laying around anywhere. Any leftover money, bank accounts, yeah, it all goes back to the sovereign, to the state. They pick it all up. like a vacuum. Yeah, that's what I mean.
In the middle, me, Ronnie-Ward. And you put me in position one. One. And then the next on the line, you put the law of Estates. And then you put sovereign state nation. And you call that position 0. So it's position 0 on one end of a line, position 0 on the other end of the line. And the law of Estates is vectors coming off of 0 through the power of the vector that points to me in the middle. Yeah.
The power of the vector is the law of Estates.
Well, 1 means on. Well,
because the state at each end is the position 0. I'm in the middle. I can't be 1, meaning on, because it would be 0, 1, 0. So I'm position 0, which means dead, off. Then it balances.
That doesn't work. 0, 0, and 1. No, to make the line balance, I have to be position 0. But if 1, 0 means death.
Or off.
1 means a life, meaning to live. By default, it should be all 0, which requires me to be dead. For 0 to balance out, 0, 0, 0.
So they can.
Yeah, well, what is it?
So they can pick up all the loose change and gather up all the assets of people who didn't have any place for it to go to. Just vacuum it all up. Yeah. People who are dead are worth a lot of money once you're dead. They are. Because you might have insurances or life insurances or things like that. You might have assets and all those kinds of things. To the state, the country, yeah, and plus, you're dead. You're no expense for the state either. Yeah. 0, 0, 0, folks. Yeah. This is theoretical right now because it's just a state and a state. Well, we know for a state to work, it's got to have people running it, right? It does. People who work for the governments have a absolute juxtaposition to me having a life and living because I'm just flat out more expensive. Yeah, I'm not an asset to the government if I'm alive. No, I'm only an asset once I'm dead. I'm a liability because it costs money for me to maintain myself. That costs the state money. I'm only an asset once I'm dead. Period. Yes, that's how it's always worked. Absolutely.
1, well, I do not live to have a life. No, I have a life to live. But it is the struggle of the individual against the machine to be a life or to live. The default position is that death is where I'm trapped. For its balance is 0, 0, 0. So a 0 economy is an economy of death. That's my natural state. It is my natural state. Death is. To live, I have to be alive. To have a life, I have to live. If I'm going to live, I can't be death. Struggle against the machine. It works.
You just look it up. Circular economy. Look it up. Circular economy. 0 zero emissions, zero carbon, zero CO2, zero emissions, zero, 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 zero. That's not at all in the United States. No, we don't participate in this. Not at all. But it's definitely on the agenda of the United Nations through their SDGs. It's definitely on the agenda in Europe. It's definitely on the agenda. Most every other place in the world, except in the United States. If you want to believe in zero carbon and zero and circular economy, you go right ahead. I'm not telling anybody what you should or shouldn't do. I'm providing an observation. I just want to say this. CO2. Do you know what CO2 means? CO2? Yeah. Take a bottle of carbonated soda and shake it up, turn the lid, and it goes out. The reason it goes out is because it has CO2 put into it. That's what CO2 is. CO2. That's what makes a can of soda go. Yeah. Does that make any sense? It should be C, to carbon only. Just carbon, not CO2. CO2 makes the fizz in your soda, folks. Yeah, it does. That's why your soda goes, it's injected with CO2 to make it like that. Hey, I'm not complaining about anybody. I'm not going after anybody. This is not about, oh, no. This is an observation, factual. Do what you want to do. I'm not telling anybody. I'm neither condemning or condoning this. No. Now, it's personal to me in the United States, so yes, but not for anybody else.
Yeah, I'm really fact of the matter about this. But I have it all worked out. That's a mathematical situation. Circular economy, it's circular death. Death is the natural state. Yeah. It takes a lot of effort from my body. Because I said sovereign.
And you wonder why European Union has nothing to say about Iran, Middle East. Silent. Because they're the proponents of the circular economy and all of that. It's in their best interest to just sit back. Look who's involved with this. The United States, Israel, Middle East, people. Yeah, it's important to us because we share a common value about life. Yeah, we do. Especially the people of Israel and Iran, and yes, Iranian Americans, Muslim Americans, Islam. Yes, the United States, a place where you can have Christianity and Islam and Judaism and every other religion. Only, yes. And those places too. Yes, that's not Europe and that's not Great Britain.
State nation at the end. You can't have a sovereign state nation unless there's people who have a life to make it work. So it automatically sets up a spiral of death. No, it sets up death. Because the people who lead the governments are in the same position. Death.
It's a sleight of hand. Do you know what magic is? Knowing something that somebody else doesn't. So I call it magic. Yeah, magic is somebody knowing something that you don't. Well, there are people who know something that most people do not know. But I know something that most people who think that they know something that most people know. That's why I call it magic. Magic. I have magic. To maintain integrity, any little thing that goes wrong can cause me to be dead. Takes a lot of energy and effort to be alive, to live. Imagine what it has required for 47 years for people to live and have a life. Yes, what a struggle for life. It's so important. I don't live to have a life. I'm going to have a life. I do not live to have a life. I have a life to live. To live. A life to live. Yeah. Well, there was an old soap opera in America called One Life to Live.